we are here with Professor Dohner from Berlin. Professor Dohner, you were talking during your presentation about uric acid and its role in cardiovascular diseases and specifically in chronic heart failure. So how do you, what kind of role does it play?
We identified uric acid as quite a very powerful signal in heart failure patients to give us some information about the symptomatic status of these patients, how bad actually they feel, and also an information about the prognosis of these patients, how high the risk of them is actually to die in the next years to come. And we were, of course, trying to identify how is this information being generated with the molecule uric acid. And in these investigations, we identified that it's probably not so much the uric acid molecule itself, but it's rather the mechanism how uric acid is generated in the body that has the causal role, how we call it, the involvement in the mechanisms that lead to symptomatic aggravation and to prognostic deterioration.
You were talking specifically of something that is produced by the body while producing uric acid, which is oxygen radicals. So this is the one thing that is extremely dangerous for chronic heart failure.
That is right. That is the important key link that we identified, or that has been identified already some years ago. Uric acid is usually produced in the body as the waste product of some metabolic turnover, and it's then excreted in the kidneys because the body doesn't need it anymore. However, in this process of uric acid generation, also these so-called oxygen radicals are generated in a stoichiometric quantity. So for each molecule of uric acid, you also produce a certain amount of these oxygen radicals. And we know from a huge bulk of evidence that oxygen radicals have lots of detrimental effects on the vasculature, on the cardiac function, on other organ functions, actually to damage the tissue and to promote the disease progression. So targeting these oxygen radicals would most likely improve the condition for these patients.
And of course, cutting the amount of oxygen radicals would improve the health of the patients. How do we cut them?
That's exactly one of the tricky parts, because there have been several attempts in the past to actually decrease this. Now, as in every natural process, these oxygen radicals are not only bad players; they have a very valuable function in the human physiology for several mechanisms. Defense against bacterial intruders, for instance. Avoiding all oxygen radicals would not be good, but avoiding the overproduction that we see, for instance, in heart failure patients, this is the tricky thing. And to find the right balance is something we are trying, and we hope to find those ways, and then to contribute to improve this disease progression for heart failure patients.